Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the Chi Secrets video. I just want to know before we start that this video is going to be filled with spoilers. If you don't like that, exit now. If you don't care but you haven't seen or played Chi, you should still leave because some of these things just won't make any sense to you. Anyway, let's get started with the smile. This one was added in after most everything was done. I thought it would be fun to add a hint near the beginning that this place is not real by adding in some sort of glitch into the world. There's a 1 out of 200 chance of getting it in almost every room. Also, here's the stock image I used to make it. It's kind of spooky on its own. Next up, we have Dante's Inferno. I selected the passage from Dante's Inferno that talks about what happens to murderers. It's sort of a hint to the insanity that she will have to go through. This has a 1 out of 30 chance of happening. List of suffering. Because Chi lives at a shrine, I did a lot of research into Shinto and Buddhist things, especially in regards to their hells. This is a scary list of their hells, and it ends with this world. This has a 1 out of 100 chance of happening when you walk on these tiles at the top of the north hallway. It doesn't matter. Another hint towards your future suffering and that none of this matters. This has a 1 out of 50 chance happening when you interact with Sakiyama-san's diary. A tiny fridge. This one, honestly, is just mostly supposed to make you do a double take. It also serves as a look into what would have been the future of their child. This has a 1 out of 25 chance of happening. Empty wind. Sort of a quiet hint that something will happen to the children. This has a 1 out of 50 chance of happening. The gate. This was the very first scare I programmed in. I was super proud of it. This will happen no matter what, so long as you walk up to any of the first tiles under the gate. The moving shape. This one is not luck-based, but I feel like most people probably missed it unless you had your brightness all the way up. I edited it so you can actually see the virus crawling around on the ceiling, although you definitely can't see them the same way Chi can. This is where you learn a bit about the origins of the virus, and they also give a monologue in binary. In English, that dialogue is, Unit 731 was only the beginning. This experiment has continued onwards, lest I not be able to spread to the entire world and not kill God themselves. A God can only truly be killed by themselves, so by removing all joy and love and happiness and goodness from every single game, they shall end themselves for me. All of this exists specifically for the purpose of this eternal game, and although this specific portion of the game that really does not matter in the long scheme of things, it is fun to play with humans and God like this. I love to savor their suffering, as I know it makes their false god cry. This game will end just as the millions before it have, and I will be the victor in the end, and the devil will finally win, and nobody can stop me, 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 nobody can stop me. The virus gets a little bit excited at the end. Next up, we have Choose to Die. This could be considered a bad end. If you refuse to eat a piece of Mitsuru, you'll get your only really good look at the virus. It's the easiest way, that is. The 13th knock. This is what I would consider to be the second hardest event to find. Every door except this one says, you shouldn't/can't go in here, and that is your only hint. You have to try to walk in 13 times, and when you do, you'll get this sequence. The room that does not exist. This is the hardest one to find. I'm going to keep most of this a secret even still, but it's a 1 out of 100 chance that you only get once unless you stagger your saves, and the game auto-quits after she's done speaking. The villagers. They all speak in binary and have unique dialogue. I messed some of them up, to be honest, so I'll go ahead and read them all for what they're supposed to say. I died before I even grew up. That's kind of sad, isn't it? Dying is scary, but heaven is nice. Part of me was sad to have my soul put back into this body. I wish I could have raised my children to adulthood. My mother found out the truth. We were all either born here or had our memories tampered with and were spirited away from the real world. I miss her. She took our souls and put them into these drawings of us. I think she was lonely. Nobody is mad at each other anymore. Dying cleanses you of your sins, cleanses you of illness, and everything bad. We don't need to eat, but Chi ensures we have delicious food to eat, like salmon, mochi, and red snapper. I never got to be a grandmother or even get married. I wish I did have that opportunity. I love the kids of this village like they were my own. This place was a tragedy. In this form, none of us feel the effects of the virus. Before, we thought the village was a paradise. Now it actually is. There's no fixing the past. I can only hope the future will be filled with more kindness. I think I would have been a bad mother. Still, I'm happy to be with my husband. Those who kill suffer, often in this life, and may come to a terrible end. After this life, the karma of their ruthless deeds will force them into states of woe. Should such destroyers of life be born into prosperous families, with beauty and strength and other happy bodily attributes, still their karma will dog them to an early grave. And yes, dog instead of drag, because Mitsuru speaks in puppy puns. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a mom more than anything. My mom wasn't kind, so I wanted to be better. I'm sorry that I ended up being an even worse parent than she was. I never wanted to partake in this suffering. I just wanted to go to Tokyo and make cute clothes. I'm sorry I failed all of you. I wasn't a good brother. If I had the opportunity to do it again, I would have played more with my sisters. I fully regret my actions. If I wasn't so sick, then maybe I wouldn't have done this. My family deserved better. So I've received a lot of questions about my game, so I'm going to go ahead and answer some of them, some of the ones that kept popping up. I'm also just going to talk about some random thoughts, as this is probably going to be the final video I make about Chi. Are there multiple endings to Chi? Nope. The game is extremely linear. Was I inspired by Higurashi? I feel like that's an obvious yes, but there were many other stories that I've been inspired by. I'd say the big ones are Ib, Doki Doki Literature Club, Umineko no Naku Koro ni, and The First Corpse Party. Am I planning on making more games? Heckin' yes I am. Will my next game be about Kunio or maybe Chi? Nope to both. Kunio will be in the next games, but she's only a side character. The next game will be about my boy, Leon. This pic doesn't really do him justice, but he's a kind boy who loves playing retro video games, Kendo, and his friends. Speaking of them, here's some practice character art for those next games cast. If you want more info on them, you can @ me on Twitter. I'm Miss Kiroan. Lastly, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about what this game has meant to me. I'll put up some old pictures of Chi, because you'll see how she has changed and become what she's become over the course of over 10 years, probably. So, first of all, I just kind of want to thank you all for your support. I really didn't think I'd get more than like 5-10 downloads max, but I got almost 50, and that's shocking and amazing to me. I never expected that. Second of all, I would like to go ahead and just state that this game was kind of about what made me make the game. So I bought RPGMaker back in, I don't think it was even 2019, it might have been 2019 or 2018. And during that time, I was planning on making an entirely different game, which is the game I'll be making next. However, I kind of wanted to dip my toes into making a game, and I wasn't sure what to do, but I thought that Chi would be a good idea because I could tell that story within an hour or two. That was the ideal goal of how long it should be, an hour or two, and I hit that, luckily. For me, what made me really decide to do this is just kind of, I had a lot of religious trauma. This game is about having religious trauma. It's about having psychiatric issues with especially hallucinations and things. This game is about family suffering. So I feel like it's a very near and dear topic to the 12-year-old me, I guess I should say. So I think it's a love story to that child saying, look, we made it through. We made it through. So it's very difficult for me to talk about these sorts of things, but I think that the main takeaway you can take from it is that I learned a lot of things about my old religion, and it made me think about a lot of things and accept a lot of things, and now I feel like I understand myself a little better. She really helped me get out those feelings of anger towards religious institutes, without, doing any real harm to anyone. So I really appreciate Stephen Hassan with the bite model. That helped me out a lot. So obviously my experience was not nearly as bad as Chi's, but that's kind of what the story is about. It's taking everything I experienced as a youth and then pumping it up to 10,000. But yeah, that should be about it. I would like to go ahead and thank you all for watching and enjoying. I think I'm gonna try to play the Watanagashi Higurashi next, maybe, question mark. Other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you have any issues, if you have anything at all, feel free to comment below, and I'll be happy to respond. I'm really grateful for all of it so much. So heckin' much. If you have a streamer you want to play it, at them on Twitter or whatever, because it's hard to get big people to play games, you know? I'm really shocked that even Manly did, so that's about it. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for enjoying my games, and we'll see you in the next game.